just an infected tooth, but luckily you've come to the best doctor in town.
In Godzilla x Kong, the two legendary monsters collide once more, but this time a bit differently. While Godzilla basically just strolls around for the first 90 minutes, Kong travels deeper into Middle-earth to find a lost kingdom of apes. Apes who wanna rise to the surface to declare war on humanity and create the dawn of a new planet. It's Godzilla x Kong, Movie of the Apes. And to be controversial right away, this movie is a perfect representation of the downward era that Hollywood has been on in the past few years, ever since Netflix came along. The plastic consumer era. You know, the stuff on screen doesn't really leave an impact. It doesn't make you think or feel. No fear, no sadness, yada yada yada. There's not much to discuss aside from cool shots made fully on a computer by an underpaid guy whose name you will never know. It's an era where movies tell you to turn your brain off and stuff popcorn in your face while images pass by your eyes. So today, that's the topic I want to dive into and learn more about. Does Godzilla x Kong feel primarily like nothing? And if so, why is it like that? A plastic product that you consume and forget. And hey, I'm aware that many people enjoyed this product. Many people thought it was an awesome movie, a big success, which is great. We've seen this same thing happen time and time again.
I respect that.
You shouldn't let your enjoyment of something be ruined by the fact that I or someone else takes negative lessons from it.
Oh, this fucking guy. Just ignore him. Ignore him.
As an example, I personally thought this movie was not too amazing, easily the new bottom of the franchise. The human side is more empty than ever before, and there's not a single actor here with enough charisma or screen presence to lead a blockbuster. Even the monster side has been neutered to a point where they feel less like scary monsters and more like cool toys that you buy for your nephew. You know, we gotta get that Kong glove and the pink Godzilla and of course, the Spider-Man car.
The new power-up Godzilla. You snap-on invincible ultra armor.
For me, it's a far cry from something like King of the Monsters where both the human and monster side were strong and strongly tied together as one. But again, it's just my opinion. There are many other opinions. Who cares? Don't let it ruin your day.
Don't do it to me. I beg you. No. Bruh.
So today, let's dive into Godzilla x Kong, the new empire, in a negative sense to learn from it. Does it do something to feel like plastic as so many modern Hollywood movies do? And if yes, how to avoid doing that? The first plastic problem here is that events kinda just come and go without impactful consequences, to the point where the movie functions like, and then this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens. Look at the opening, for example, where Kong is running from a pack of hyenas in Middle-earth. In terms of plot and setups for payoffs, this works really well. We get to see Kong's ingenuity with trap making, which comes into play later, and we also get the catalyst into the plot as the sinkhole reveals the new area. Great. But what you can also notice is that in terms of meaningful consequence within this event itself, there's nothing. Nothing happens to Kong here to change him or his personal journey. He just outsmarts the hyenas and then he showers and then he hurts his tooth while eating. So he must go to the surface to get it fixed. It's not like the hyena event causes that to happen. No, that event happens and then this happens. The hyenas may as well not have been there and Kong could have hurt his tooth while eating a burger.
Hamburger.
For context, look at The Dark Knight, which has a very similar opening event. It gets the plot going with good setups, but also has meaning of its own. Batman gets injured because his armor is susceptible to dogs, which makes him get a new suit.
My armor. Carrying too much weight.
The consequence of the event alters the future.
How will it hold up against dogs?
We talking Rottweilers or Chihuahuas?
And most often, that's not the case here. There is no impactful change, nothing on the lines of but, however, which means usually stuff just happens, like and then.
Well, let's take a look.
I'll get as close as I can.
Godzilla goes to fight some monster in Rome, and then he defeats it, and then he goes to sleep. And then he senses a new threat, and he goes to some power plant to suck it dry, and then some drones shoot at him and he smacks them down. And then he goes to the Arctic to fight some pink leviathan, and then he kills it, and then he goes into its lair to suck more energy. A lot of cool stuff happens, yes, but nothing really happens. No central character is ever in danger, no central character is ever changed by Godzilla's antics. Even Godzilla is in no way affected by the events themselves, but more so strolls through the events to get to the effects. Same on Kong's side. Kong goes to investigate the sinkhole area, and then he gets ambushed by apes, and then he fights them, and then he saves one of them, and then nothing. The saved ape attacks him again, and he kills him. That's it. No consequences come from the fact that Kong wanted to help. He doesn't get injured, he doesn't learn to mistrust other apes. Nothing of impact. There is character showcase here, yes. There is character development when Mini Kong takes Kong to be ambushed by a blue leviathan, and then Kong kills it off screen and they become friends. But there's nothing meaningful in the moments themselves. They just happen and then they're over. It's not until the Ape Kingdom that events finally start to carry power and change of their own. My point is that moving through the narrative with cool events and action is not enough. The reason the human side is insanely boring and forgettable is because there's nothing there. They fix Kong's tooth, and then they follow him to Middle Earth, and then they investigate a destroyed base, and then their ship malfunctions, and then it's fine again, and then they land, and then one guy nobody cares about dies, and then. Movies shouldn't be a straight line. They and their direction should be constantly altered in a meaningful way. If the ship malfunctions, it shouldn't then be fine again in the next scene. It should crash land and this way change the next scene. Force the characters to walk somewhere to call for help or repair the ship or something. Consequence. Because if a movie just strolls from one event to another in a straight line, it's basically like a roller coaster without turns or loops or changes in speed. As in, not a roller coaster at all, but rather a ride that you ride, and then it's over. Can you still hear me? I think your earbuds might be broken because it keeps glitching out. I'm afraid you're gonna have to get new ones. That sucks, I know, but I'm gonna help you come out of this better off than you were before. See, here's the secret to getting great earbuds that don't end up like your current ones. You want good audio quality, but at half the price of the big brands that have a fruit on them, because you don't need them. You want an ergonomic design that will fit and stay comfortably in your ear without falling off, ever. And you also want active noise cancellation and a 30-day happiness guarantee, and more. In other words, you want the Raycons, the Bluetooth earbuds for those who don't want to pay extra for a fruit. I've been using Raycons on my runs ever since I got them for that Transformers video in 2021, and so do millions of others like famous Twitch streamer Snoop Dogg.
Bad. This shit, man.
Right now, Raycon is sponsoring a 15% discount with my link below, along with free shipping, which is great because they just released an upgraded model of their everyday earbuds which have everything I talked about and more. So there you go, consequence change things for the better. The second plastic problem here is the emotional tone, which is so light and casual that nothing feels like it matters. A good example is the podcast guy, who has a pretty emotional core within him. Basically, nobody believes what he saw and did in the last movie, and so he's lost all credibility and lives a sad, lonely life unless he gets proof.
Been through what I've been through, seen what I've seen, and have absolutely nobody believe you.
And yet, none of that is treated like it's real. He apparently has a podcast that means a lot to him, but the podcast isn't real aside from him mentioning his subscriber count.
It cost me hundreds of subscribers.
He apparently lost his life, but his life isn't real aside from him saying that it sucks now because of trolls.
This one troll named Ghostbusters, you ever heard of him?
No, I don't think so.
You know, we don't get to feel his emotional core. We don't see him struggling to live or get a job because he's been publicly humiliated. We don't see him being confronted on the street by someone who recognizes him. Mostly, it's treated like a funny little joke, which doesn't allow the audience to care. And to be clear, the problem isn't comedy. Movies have always been able to both be funny and make you invest in what happens. But nowadays, they don't seem to even try the latter. They give you no reason to believe that something real and bad might happen, and so you don't believe, you simply watch. On the monster side, for instance, the credibility has pretty much fallen to zero. Kong leaves his home and enters Godzilla's territory because of what? Because he has toothache and needs the dentist. What the f***? Is this the historic monster from Skull Island or a puppy dog we should find cute? Godzilla goes on a rampage across Europe, yet the rampage concerns nothing and no one. There is no central character to witness the fight from the ground, no grounded perspective to make the damage seem like it matters, no damage to anything important. No, it's just a cool fight between Godzilla and this other monster. And although it can be fun to watch, that's all it is. It doesn't evoke fear or tension or sadness or anything. Even at the end, it's just cool CGI noise. We're on some random beach and there are random people in danger and we're fighting for the entire Earth, I guess. Very awesome, but I don't think anything bad will actually happen. I don't really give a shit.
Remains obsessed with reaching the surface. Cover the Earth in an ice age.
I don't think so, pal.
And it is frustrating, because these monsters used to look and feel so massive, like gods. Characters would watch them rise up into the sky, and then those characters were just gone. Destruction used to play on such intense levels that you felt like you were there. Yet now, the monsters have been reduced to making less of an impact than your action figures when they break your mom's vase.
Have some respect. These people had families.
Who are you?
In other words, the emotional potential is not used. Dangers aren't dangerous, challenges aren't challenging, obstacles aren't obstacles. We just have some fun and that's it, which severely limits the potential. Middle Earth, for instance, should be an amazing place, a secret world full of monsters, and yet it's more boring than your local zoo. Oh, there's no danger because we fly around in the ship that basically has plot armor. Oh, even when there finally is danger, it only concerns one random character that has no existence or personality outside the plot, while the heroes just make goofy remarks about it.
He was just eaten by a tree.
I know, man, I know, that's heavy, but that's the natural world, man.
As a whole, you just don't feel that sort of amazement and wonder like in Peter Jackson's King Kong, where rounding every corner felt big because around every corner was something real. The point is that emotional potential is useless unless used. It's not enough to make the audience understand emotion. That Kong is lonely since he looks for a sound that kinda sounds like him. That's very basic. That's like level 1 of screenwriting. You need to do way more, delve way deeper.
Deep down, that's why Kong got so mad.
Because understanding this mom-daughter relationship is not the same as caring about it. Casual and light can be fun, but it doesn't make most audiences remember or think about you past the credits. The third plastic problem here is that there's a lot of arbitrary stuff that the movie expects you to go with simply because it's a movie, so turn off your brain and shut up. The whole subplot about the humans traveling into Middle Earth, for example, doesn't make a whole lot of sense when you think about it. Basically, the humans start to get readings of these magnetic pulses somehow, which the girl from Skull Island also somehow sees telepathically. And then the podcast guy realizes that it's a distress call. Somehow.
Psychic energy SOS.
And so they go down this magical tube to get to Middle Earth, and then they track the distress call to find this village. A village where people communicate telepathically somehow.
How are they communicating?
Telepathically.
And can also somehow see your memories by touching you. And then it turns out that they're moving these crystals to make the distress call and control gravity. Oh, and the girl is also a prophesized Jesus who can somehow bring back Mothra, who died elsewhere in an earlier movie.
And I've got to say, in all honesty,
This goes on, but what I'm getting at is that it's all pretty random, right? Like, there's no proper basis to explain or justify it. It's not all part of a big coherent picture. It's just a series of choices that the movie makes out of thin air to create a nonsensical result. And as a result, the big picture and its pieces are greatly devalued. For example, earlier I made a joke about the monsters being like action figures, but it's not really a joke. They've been reduced to very arbitrary, shallow versions of themselves that can be easily packaged and sold, just like Spider-Man car. Oh, this time Godzilla is pink, which means he's super powerful because pink means powerful. Oh, this time Kong gets a glove that the humans made for him somehow, which makes him super kick-ass because he suddenly has a glove now. Oh, there's a pink leviathan that Godzilla fights, which is definitely different than the blue leviathan that Kong fights, because colors.
Looks like he's hunting Tiamat.
Titanus Tiamat. Titan 19. Extremely aggressive, territorial. Weaponizing her body of razor-sharp...
You know, there's no delicate foundation or build-up for anything here. Things just are as they are and function so long as you don't look closer. The villain ape has this crystal that he waves around to command this other monster. Well, what exactly is the crystal and how does it work? How do you use it to make specific commands?
I don't know. It's just a thing that commands the monster. No need to think more about it.
Pikachu, full tackle, go!
The villain's lair is a very villainous labor camp where apes have to carry rocks around. Well, what exactly are they carrying rocks around for? Are they doing something like how in the new Apes movie they're trying to open a vault?
I don't know. They're just carrying rocks and there's guards. It's a labor camp. No need to think more about it.
2 seconds late for work, boy.
Listen, Spider-Man, he just has a car now. Don't think about it. Just buy it and have fun with it.
And this is perhaps the biggest problem with modern Hollywood. This mentality of, yeah, that's good enough. So many of these big studio movies have begun to revolve 90% around shallow gimmicks, because why bother? We already have giant monsters in this world, so we may as well let the whole world be nonsense, right? Yeah, the villain wants to get to the surface and destroy it by creating a new ice age, whatever. The important part is that we can now have this big CGI battle with the whole Earth in danger. Big action, big stakes, that's what matters. I mean, look, Kong is riding Godzilla. Yeehaw! And to be fair, I get the argument that some movies you shouldn't scrutinize too closely. Just turn off your brain and enjoy. I get it. But the problem is that the more we do that, the worse it's gonna get. Like how Call of Duty was pretty cool one day, and the next day it was Fortnite. I mean, this franchise started off with mysterious monsters tied to atomic energy, and now it has already devolved to laughable nonsense. And until audiences start to push back like, hey, I'm not content with only cool computer shots, it's not gonna get better. Things will get better only when we demand them to.
While we are throwing random shit at the wall, permission to take the heat?
No.
When Godzilla powers up, it's an all-out power struggle. All-out Godzilla war. Power of Godzilla from Trendmaster.